The cafeteria roared with laughter, but it wasn't joy, it was cruelty. A group of students gathered around, mocking a young girl who sat alone with a cracked lunchbox filled with cold rice and a boiled egg. Her shoes were worn thin, her backpack torn at the edges, and her sweater looked like it had seen more winters than she had. But she didn't cry. She just sat there, quietly picking at her food, pretending not to hear the laughter that surrounded her like a storm. That girl's name was Lily Grant, and she was used to being invisible when it hurt and far too visible when it was cruel. Every day, she arrived early to school so no one would see her walking the long, muddy road from the slums. And every day, she left late, pretending she had somewhere else to go because the truth, returning to a crumbling shack with no electricity, no running water, and often no dinner, was something she didn't want anyone to see. The rich kids at Westbrook High School came in shiny cars with chauffeurs. They wore designer shoes, carried the latest phones, and talked about vacations in Switzerland and summer homes by the lake. Lily came with worn-out hand-me-downs, her father's old calculator, and a hunger, not just for food, but for a better life. It wasn't that she didn't try to make friends. She did. But poverty has a smell, a look, a presence that makes others uncomfortable. The rich kids called her names. The teachers overlooked her. The world pushed her to the edges. Except for one person, Mrs. Elaine, the school's old librarian. "You're not poor, Lily," Mrs. Elaine would say, handing her a new book each week. "You're just preparing to be extraordinary." Those words stayed with Lily through every insult, every empty dinner plate, every night she studied by candlelight while listening to her mother cough through her third shift at the factory. Lily's mother was a strong woman, once a schoolteacher, but abandoned by her husband when things got hard. She gave everything to raise her daughter, and Lily swore she'd make her proud. Lily graduated high school with the highest marks, but no applause. No one cheered. No one cared. Her classmates posed for photos, tossed their caps in the air, and partied. She walked home alone, diploma in hand, holding back tears. But that night, as she sat on the floor of their one-room home, her mother placed a small, wrapped bundle in her hand, a worn-out wristwatch. "Your father left it behind," she said. "Use it to remember, time is your weapon, not your enemy." Lily wore that watch every day for the next 10 years. College was a dream she couldn't afford, but she worked 3 jobs, waitressing, tutoring, and cleaning, to scrape together enough money for online classes. Every spare minute was spent learning. She studied economics at night, coding in the early mornings, and business strategy during her lunch breaks. She taught herself what universities charged thousands to teach. And slowly, piece by piece, she began to build something from nothing. Her first break came when she entered an online startup competition. Her idea, a platform that helped low-income students access quality education using mobile data, cheap, fast, and accessible. Everyone laughed. They said it was impossible, unrealistic, idealistic. But Lily had already heard those laughs before. And she knew how to silence them, with results. She didn't win the competition, but she caught the eye of a small investor who believed in her mission. With a modest seed fund and unshakable determination, she launched EDU Bloom, a free educational platform powered by AI and simplified tools that worked even on the oldest smartphones. In the first year, 10,000 students signed up. By the second year, there were 100,000. In 5 years, she was CEO of a multi-million-dollar company that had helped over 10 million children across the country get access to education, children who were once like her. She wore simple clothes. She didn't drive a luxury car. But her eyes held a fire that even billionaires respected. Investors began calling her the Silent Thunder, because she never shouted, never begged for attention. She let her work speak. Then one day, Lily received an invitation, a guest speaker opportunity at Westbrook High's annual business summit. She stared at the envelope for a long time. A decade had passed. The school that once humiliated her now wanted her to inspire their students. When she walked into the grand auditorium, all heads turned. She wore a sleek black blazer, her hair tied in a neat bun, and her father's old watch still on her wrist. Some of her old classmates were now teachers, assistants, even administrators. And when she was introduced as the founder and CEO of EDU Bloom, Lily Grant, there was a gasp. One of the organizers, Jessica Price, who once led the mocking laughter in the cafeteria, stood near the stage, her face pale. She had once been prom queen, but now worked as a secretary at the school, divorced and barely making ends meet. Lily didn't look down on her. She didn't smirk. She just smiled warmly and walked to the mic. "When I was a student here," Lily began, "I was the girl no one wanted to sit next to. I was laughed at, ignored, and judged for things I had no control over. But I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm here to thank you." There was confusion in the room. Because every insult I heard became a brick. And I used those bricks to build something they said couldn't be built. You see, the world will try to tell you who you are. But you get to decide who you become. And sometimes, the worst days of your life are just training grounds for the greatest days ahead. The auditorium exploded into applause, but Lily's eyes fell on the back row, where a girl sat quietly, wearing a torn uniform and clinging to a battered notebook. Lily saw herself. After the speech, she walked over to the girl, knelt down, and said, "What's your dream?" The girl whispered, "To become someone like you." Lily smiled, wrote her number on the girl's notebook, and said, "Then let's start today." The school later announced a new scholarship program fully funded by EDU Bloom, for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. The program was named the Grant Legacy Fund, in honor of her mother who passed away the year before. That same week, Lily returned to her office, where dozens of her former classmates had applied for jobs, most unaware that their interviews would be with the girl they once mocked. She didn't reject them. She didn't humiliate them. She hired the ones who were qualified, trained the ones who weren't, and treated every single one of them with kindness and fairness. Because that's what true power looks like, not revenge, not ego, but grace. And as she sat in her corner office, overlooking a city that once seemed too far, she finally allowed herself to cry. Not because she was sad, but because she had made it. Against all odds, Lily Grant, the girl they once laughed at, had returned. Not to destroy them, but to lead them, and to show the world that sometimes, the poor girl no one believes in, becomes the boss no one can ignore.